Afternoon, or morning, or evening, wherever you are, and welcome back to ALCHEMOTO's garage series. So we're getting to the final stages now of the paintwork for the Harley 48 tank. As you can see now, the clear coat has gone off. We've took the front fender off, we've flattened that down. Now we've got to remove the rear fender, which means we've got to drop the rear shocks and lower the tyres so we can access the bolts. So, without further ado, let's crack on. Roll that intro. Okay, so what you need to do is give yourself a little bit of slack now. So you can pull that wire out. Now these have little tabs underneath. And you can see even there where my wire has been caught at some point underneath on one of the tabs. So we need to put some heat shrink or something over that and make sure that doesn't rub through anymore in the future. And surprising, I've seen a few people that have had problems with the wiring for the lights. Anyway, okay, so once you've fought your way with the wiring, and just remove that up to there, then you can pull off your strut cover. Okay, and then you can put a spanner on there. I don't normally use adjustable spanners, it's called laziness, but all I've got to do is just hold that to free it off, and then I can spin that. Take that off, always put your nut back on so you don't lose it. And then one more piece of wire through there. With a bit of luck, I'll be able to spin that up and give us more room. There we go. I mean, the good thing is now we've got all that off, we can give these a wipe down, got all that crap, and give that a good wash out before we put everything back, so that's the bonus. Well, let's have another closer look at the rear fender. Okay, so there we go. Got one mark here where it's been rubbing. You can see the rust around the hole there. Rust around there. Rust on the inside. Cow shit. Rust on there. And then right on the edge, you can just see that. It's getting that light. Just those little spots of rust on the edges. So overall, pretty weak show really for the paintwork on the rear fender. I think there's about 3 coats of paint, if that, and it doesn't look like there's any primer on. And like I said, a few people have complained over the same thing. So for a 3-year-old bike, yeah, 3-year-old bike, just over 3-year-old, I think that's pretty poor. So we're going to do the same to the rear anyway as what we've done to the front, and put about at least another 8 coats and about 4 coats of clear coat over the top of that. But first we've got to strip the plastic sides off, take the badge off, take the leather bib off, and then flat the paintwork down. Okay, so I'll just show you this because this is one of the worst areas on the rear fender. and that was actually caused by having a luggage rack and then bolting down to it, and then when you tightened up the sides it actually pulled, and then the paint had split round it. Well, that's been covered up by the leather bib that I had over the back, fortunately, but it's just something to be aware of, and that's another modification that I'm going to do in the future, because something I'm going to do is refabricate that and to weld it back onto the sissy bar and make a mount so it can be removed but it's secure as well at the same time. That way it's never going to touch the rear fender and cause anything like that again in the future. So anyway, we'll carry on prepping this rear mudguard or fender and see what we get up to in a bit. Now for this, I'm just using a surface prep tool with a scotch pad on it, and that way it's not going to rip the paint, it'll just sort of take it down nice and easy. So all the areas around the holes where you've got the sort of mild rust around it, that's just going to take that off. See how far the rust has travelled underneath the paint. And there you go, there's proof that I was saying about Harley paint is shit. Blacker primer, no primer whatsoever, and the rust has travelled further than what I thought, so I'm so happy that I'm attacking this today. To leave that on for another 12 months, that would have been, you know, it probably would have started bubbling through the top coat. So there you go, there's proof in the pudding. I only thought that was a bit surface rust around where the holes were drilled, but yeah, to see that rust travelling up through there is absolutely, you know, I mean, I'm lost for words. Looks like I'm going to take more of the paint off than I first thought before we can re-prep it, but what the hell, at least we know it's being done right. So with flatting down and obviously getting rid of some of that rust on this rear fender, this is the finish that you need to achieve. So it looks a little bit fierce. That's where the badge was. We've gone, took the glue off, and you can see that's where the pull was and the rust. And what we've done is we've hammered that back, and then we've put a little sander on and then sanded that, so we've got a nice smooth finish again. The same with here and here. This is how far we've had to chase those little rust spots back. We've found them all the way, about 2 inch away. The water's come underneath from the edge, the lip, and then travelled under the paint. Same with that one there, and this was the worst one where the plug was. And if you imagine now, you've got the you know, the shit guard that goes on the back, the plastic guard, and then there's a plug that went in there. You can see where the water has been, you know, around the lip and then travelled up here. Now we've took that down and that's flat and that's been treated now. So with the base coat and primer over that, we shouldn't have a problem again. And we actually use just a little bit of the anti-rust primer on that. Probably just have to go a little bit more. You can just see around the edge there. I'll just chase a little bit more back. You can just see that brown colour just underneath the lip of the paint. So a little bit more work to do yet, but yeah. And the sander I'm using, the handy little tool by Snap-on. And it's a mini palm sander, and it's absolutely ideal for this job. Okay, so that's the final flatting of the rear fender. And you can see now we've smoothed down all where the rust spots were on all of the holes. And then on the inside, that's how much rust we've taken back. And there was hardly any primer at all on the inside of that fender, so no bloody wonder the rust is coming through. So that's one thing Harley Davidson needs to get right. I don't know what it's like on the other models, your Dyners, your Road Kings, your Softails, but on the Sportster, definitely paintwork not enough to protect it underneath. So, you know, do something about that. So as I said, now we've got the base coat on, and that's had about 4 coats, so we've got plenty to work with on that. And then what we're going to do now is just put a bit of gold base over here, and then we can work with that, ready for the outline. Okay, so you don't have to be too precise with this. All you're doing is laying just a nice even gold coat just where we want the 3M tape to give us the line for where we're working. Okay, so we've put the outline on the rear fender. You can see that now. So we've got the 3mm line tape, the 3M tape. So what we've done is, because I've got the leather bib on the back of the fender here, so we've sort of come around and followed the lines down, and then scalloped down here and put the outline decal slap bang in the center. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do the fish scales on these 2 edges. This will have the copper bronze, and obviously because we've got the black overlay to go over this now, then we're going to be left with the gold outline as we've done on previous parts of the build. So just to recap again, so we've got the copper in the middle and the gold outline and the scales. So it's sort of going to match like that, and the same with the front, the chin spoiler. And they're all ready for the clear coat and the tank now. We've took the gloss back off, and the reason we've done that, you can see now how flat that is. We get rid of all the shiny marks, so we know that it's flat, ready for the final clear coat. So we've got those prepped now. All we've got to do is do the stencil work and the airbrush work on that, flat down that, and then we're all ready for the clear coat, which is the final thing. So let's go ahead and put some black over and start the process. Okay, so all the panels are done now. We've got the tank, which has been flattened down. We've got the rear fender now, which the work's been complete on that. We've got the front fender, work's complete on that, and the chin spoiler. So everything now is on the table, ready to lay on the clear. So we've got the temperature up in the workshop. We've got the gas heat. We've had that on for the last half an hour. So we're around about a good 68, 70 degrees in here now, which is absolutely perfect. So we're going to go ahead and mix the clear and then lay a couple of coats on and see how we go. So let's go. So the first thing we do is take one of the measuring cups and we'll do a 2-to-1 mix with the clear coat with that. And let's have a look. We want the 2K activator and the 2K show clear. And as it says on here, mix 2 parts show clear and 1 part to the 2K activator. There we go. and the 2K activator. Now if you want to thin this down a little bit more, then you can use the de-thinner, which is this one here, but I find it quite a good mix just as it is. I'll just show you these panels from the front now. So there we go, we've got the chin spoiler, we've got the front fender, we've got the rear now, and the tank. And what we've done is we've swept the floor, a little bit of wet down as well. We'll put the extractor fan on, just get any more airborne dust out of the workshop before we go ahead. Okay folks, so there we have it. That's the final installation for the custom paint series. As you can see now, we've got the fenders, the front chin spoiler, we've got the fuel tank, and we've actually done the lights as well. Had a couple of scratches on the light fittings. So we're still going to do the struts, but I'm not going to show you that because, you know, that's just going to be base black. No point in showing you that. So all we're going to do now is let that lacquer, that clear coat, go completely hard, and we're going to flat that off and then polish that. So I may show you what I use for polishing with the mops on another vlog, but for now, hope you've enjoyed watching this series. I know it's been 5 parts, but it's been what, about 3-4 weeks of every evening prepping, sanding. Oh, it's been relentless, but we're finally there. So all we've got to do now is get these completely polished up, get them fitted to the bike, and get ready for that season where we've got loads and loads of ride outs for you with the group. Sports of Sickness, we've got the big one coming up. Sports of Sickness at Mallory Park on the 11th of April, so that one's coming soon. That's going to be a fantastic vlog. You know, hopefully a few hundred sportsters all in one place on that one. And if you watch the previous vlogs of the ride outs from Silverstone and Donington Park, that's going to be fantastic opening to the start of the season. So please carry on watching my channel. There's plenty more to come. Thanks for any of you new subscribers, and see you soon. ALCHEMOTO out. it.